March 19th, 1943. Over Saint-Nazaire, France. The 91st Bomb Group's formation loses structural integrity at low 9:47 hours. Expected interception rate 12%. Actual count from mission reports 41 enemy contacts in 18 minutes. Sergeant Harold Parker, nose turret gunner aboard B-17F serial 425077, records mechanical failure of the Sperry ball turret traverse system during sustained engagement. Intelligence summary filed March 20th notes. Defensive armament response time insufficient against Focke-Wulf closing speeds exceeding 350 knots. The modification. Parker begins that night, unauthorized, undocumented in maintenance logs, appears in no official record. But by June, 7 aircraft in his squadron carry versions of the same field adjustment. The survival rate shifts, quietly, measurably, without explanation in the reports sent back to Wright Field. The machine shops at Bassingbourn, England, run through the night of March 12, 1943. Arc welders throw blue light across the concrete floors. The 91st Bomb Group has flown 11 missions in 14 days. Maintenance crews work rotations that blur into single shifts lasting 30 hours. Technical Sergeant Raymond Kolb supervises turret repairs on 6 B-17Fs simultaneously, each aircraft requiring gun synchronization checks before the next sortie. The Sperry nose turret, officially the A1 ball mounting, weighs 380 pounds and requires 14 separate inspection points between missions. Parker watches Kolb's crew remove a jammed traverse motor from aircraft 231, the mechanism seized during combat 3 days prior. "Bearing wear," Kolb mutters, logging the failure. "We're replacing them every 40 flight hours now. Manual says 200. Parker asks if there's a fix. Kolb doesn't look up. "Yeah, don't get hit." The briefing room fills at 0400 hours. Intelligence Officer Captain Morris spreads reconnaissance photos across the table. The target, submarine pens at Saint-Nazaire. Expected resistance, moderate flak, possible fighter interception over the coast. Parker studies the photos. Concrete walls, 16 feet thick. The bomb run will require straight and level flight for 90 seconds. 90 seconds is a lifetime when fighters commit. He thinks about the turret, about bearing wear, about 40 flight hours. Parker climbs into the nose section of B-17F Memphis Belle at 0615 hours for a systems check. The Sperry turret encases him in plexiglass and aluminum, 2 Browning M2.50 caliber machine guns positioned at his shoulders. Total ammunition 500 rounds per gun. Rate of fire 750 rounds per minute combined. Effective range against enemy fighters 600 yards if the traverse system responds. He rotates the turret manually. The electric motor hums, gears engage, but there's lag. Nearly a full second between his hand control input and actual gun movement. Against a Focke-Wulf 190 closing at 350 knots, 1 second equals 590 feet of approach. Too much. He opens the service. Panel behind the traverse motor. The gear reduction assembly uses a worm drive system designed for smooth, controlled movement. Excellent for bombing runs, insufficient for defensive gunnery against high-speed attacks. Parker traces the powertrain with his finger. Electric motor to reduction gears to traverse ring. Each component adds mass, adds friction, adds delay. He remembers watching a ball turret gunner in the 303rd Bomb Group modify his trigger assembly last month, not for speed, but for reliability in sub-zero temperatures. Unauthorized, effective. The crew chief never asked. Parker makes a decision. Tonight, after the mission, he'll open this system properly. Study it. Find where the delay lives. The formation crosses the French coast at 0931 hours. 21 B-17s in defensive box pattern, altitude 23,000 feet. Parker scans the horizon through the turret glass. Clear sky, no contrails. Intelligence was wrong about moderate resistance. At 0947 hours, the first Focke-Wulf 190 formation appears, 9 aircraft diving from 28,000 feet, positioned directly between the bombers and the sun. Parker rotates the turret, tracking the lead fighter. His hands move. The control column tilts, but the guns lag behind. The FW-190 closes to 800 yards, firing. Tracer rounds arc past the nose. Parker compensates, leading the target, squeezing the trigger. The Browning's hammer. 50 rounds expended in 4 seconds. Misses, all of them. The fighter breaks right, untouched. The formation tightens. More fighters appear. 11, then 17. The intercom crackles with positions called out from waist gunners. Ball turret, top turret. 2 o'clock level. 6 high. Coming through again. Parker tracks another 1-90, fires, watches his tracers trail behind the target. The turret won't keep up, can't keep up. A third fighter commits head-on. Standard Luftwaffe tactic against B-17 nose sections. Parker rotates hard, the electric motor whining. The fighter grows in his sight. 400 yards, 300. He fires. The traverse lags. The fighter's wings light up with cannon fire. Rounds punch through the plexiglass 6 inches from Parker's head. The 1-90 breaks under, after image burned into Parker's vision. The turret swings back to center, 1 second too late, always 1 second too late. Bassingbourn, March 20th, 00:30 hours. The maintenance hangar is empty except for Parker and a single work light clamped to the turret mount. He's stripped the traverse assembly down to components. Motor, gears, ring bearing, control cables. Technical manual 0122EG2 spread open beside him, pages stained with hydraulic fluid from previous consultations. The worm gear reduction system is designed for precision, not speed. Parker understands this now. Every ounce of torque traded for smoothness. Every degree of rotation controlled through multiple gear stages. He studies the control cable routing. Standard installation runs cables through 3 pulleys before reaching the motor. Activation switch. 3 pulleys mean 3 friction points. He disconnects the center pulley, reroutes the cable direct. Reduced friction, faster response, maybe. The bearing assembly presents a different problem. The traverse ring rides on ball bearings specified for smooth rotation under load, but smoothness requires grease, and grease in sub-zero temperatures thickens, adds resistance. Parker remembers Technical Sergeant Kolb's comment, bearing wear every 40 hours. He examines the grease specification chart. MEAL G 3278 standard lubricant, effective range, -20 to +160 degrees Fahrenheit. At 23,000 feet, external temperature reads -35. The grease is operating outside specification. He finds lighter oil in the maintenance supplies. MIL L6082, aircraft instrument grade. Not authorized for turret bearings. But at altitude, it won't freeze. He cleans the bearing race, applies the lighter oil, reassembles. Total modifications, cable rerouting, lubricant substitution, nothing that shows in pre-flight inspection, nothing that violates structural integrity, just faster response. Theoretically, he'll test it tomorrow. If it works, he'll fly with it. If it fails, the turret jams and he dies. Simple mathematics. April 12, 1943. The target is Bremen, Germany, specifically the Focke-Wulf aircraft assembly plant at Osterholz. Expected resistance upgraded to severe. Parker's modified turret has flown 3 missions since Saint-Nazaire. No failures, no jams. Response time improved by approximately 0.7 seconds based on his internal count during tracking exercises. Not much, possibly everything. The formation penetrates German airspace at 10 to 23 hours. Flak begins immediately. Heavy 88mm batteries walking bursts through the formation pattern. Black puffs materialize at exact altitude. Radar predicted, pattern fired. Parker ignores the flak. Nothing he can do about shells. He scans for fighters. They come at 10:37 hours. BF-109s this time, 12 aircraft in javelin formation, attacking from 12 o'clock high. Standard textbook approach. Parker rotates the turret up, tracking the lead 109. The guns respond. Faster, noticeably faster. He leads the target, squeezes trigger. The Brownings fire, tracers converge. The 109's engine, cowling sparkles. Hits. The fighter breaks left, smoke trailing. First confirmed hits Parker has scored in 11 missions. The second 109 commits. Parker swings the turret, tracks, fires, more hits, wing route. The fighter continues through, breaks under the formation. Not a kill, but damage, real damage. The modifications work. The intercom erupts. Good shooting, Nose. Keep 'em off us, Parker. He doesn't respond. He's already tracking the next target. By mission end, Parker has engaged 9 fighters, scored hits on 4, possible kill on 1. Aircraft 42-5277 returns to Bassingbourn with 11 holes in the fuselage, but the crew intact. After debriefing, Parker finds Technical Sergeant Kolb in the hangar. "That turret," Kolb says. "Something's different." Parker nods. "Runs better in cold air." Kolb studies him for 3 seconds. Then, "Keep it running." Word spreads quietly. Not through official channels, through crew chiefs, through gunners comparing notes in the mess hall, through the silence of not asking questions. By April 20th, 2 other nose turret gunners approach Parker. Both have experienced the same traverse lag, the same missed opportunities. Parker shows them the modifications, cable rerouting, lighter oil. Simple. They implement the changes on their aircraft. No paperwork, no authorization requests sent to group engineering. The modifications simply appear. Lieutenant Colonel William Reed, 91st Bomb Group Operations Officer, notices something in the April mission reports. Defensive gunnery effectiveness has improved, not dramatically, but measurably. Fighter kill claims remain steady, but hits per engagement ratios are climbing, specifically in nose turret positions. He mentions this to Captain Morris during evening briefing prep on April 27th. Morris pulls gunnery reports from 3 squadrons. The pattern holds. "Equipment upgrade?" Reed asks. Morris shakes his head. "Nothing in the maintenance logs. They don't investigate further. Results matter more than explanations." By May 1st, 7 aircraft in the 91st carry versions of Parker's modification. Each installation slightly different. Some gunners reroute cables, some change lubricants, some adjust spring tension in the control column itself. The concept spreads faster than the specific technique. Faster turret response, better tracking, improved survival. The modifications require maintenance. Oil seals not designed for instrument-grade lubricant develop slow leaks. Parker spends 15 minutes after each mission checking, topping off, wiping down components. The extra work is invisible to mission reports, but essential to reliability. On May 4th, during a mission to Antwerp, Sergeant Michael Rousseau's modified turret seizes during combat. Cable routing failure. Parker's original design didn't account for vibration harmonics in extended firing. Rousseau survives because his ball turret gunner compensates. Back at Bassingbourn, Parker and Rousseau strip both turrets, compare installations. Parker adds a cable retention clip borrowed from rudder control assemblies. Rousseau implements it. The modification evolves, adaptation under pressure, innovation without blueprints. May 14, 1943, Kiel, Germany, naval facilities and U-boat construction yards. The 91st Bomb Group forms part of a 126 aircraft strike force. the largest daylight raid attempted over Germany to date. Expected losses 15%. Acceptable. Necessary. Parker's B-17 flies in the lead squadron, high element, exposed position, maximum visibility for bombardier, maximum exposure to fighters. The formation crosses into German airspace at 10:41 hours, flak immediately, then fighters, estimated 40+ aircraft, engaging simultaneously from multiple vectors. Bf-109s, FW-190s, and 3 of the new Bf-110 heavy fighters carrying 20mm cannons. Parker engages a 110 head-on at 10:49 hours. The enemy aircraft closes slowly, heavily armed, heavily armoured, committed to frontal attack despite defensive fire. Parker tracks smooth, compensating for the modified turret's faster response. He fires in controlled bursts. 3 seconds, pause, 3 seconds. Ammo conservation. The 110's nose lights up with cannon fire. Parker doesn't flinch. He adjusts aim, fires again, hits register along the 110's starboard engine, smoke, fire. The fighter breaks right, losing altitude. Behind it, 2 109s commit simultaneously, split attack from 11 and 1 o'clock. Parker rotates left, engages the first 109, hits, rotates right. The second 109 is already too close, 200 yards, firing. Parker fires back, head-on engagement, textbook suicide run. Both aircraft firing. Closing speed 550 knots. At 100 yards, the 109 breaks under. Parker feels rounds punch through the nose section. 3 hits. 1 through plexiglass, 2 through aluminum skin. No critical damage. The bombardier, Lieutenant James Warren, calls over intercom, "Nice shooting." Parker doesn't answer. He's watching another 109 set up for a pass. The mission lasts 6 hours, 12 minutes. The 91st loses 2 aircraft. Expected losses: 19 aircraft across the entire strike force. Actual losses: 12. The numbers don't match predictions. Something has changed in the defensive equation. The after-action reports note improved gunnery performance but offer no explanation. Bassingbourn, May 16th, 0900 hours. Lieutenant Colonel Reed calls Parker to operations, not a reprimand, a conversation. Reed sits behind a metal desk covered in mission folders, each containing casualty reports, aircraft status, gunnery effectiveness analyses. "Your turret," Reed says. Not a question. Parker waits. Other crews are modifying their systems. Same pattern as yours. Reed taps a folder. Gunnery scores are up. I'm not asking how or why. I'm asking if it's sustainable. Parker considers the question. Honest answer, probably not. The modifications, stress components, not designed for increased response rates. Bearing wear accelerates. Cable tension requirements exceed original specifications, but the alternative, standard turrets with 1 second lag, means lower survival rates. Reed watches Parker calculate. "We lose aircraft," Reed continues, "because fighters close too fast for our gunners to track. Your modification addresses that, partially. It's not perfect, but it's better. Engineering won't approve it because it's not tested, but you've tested it. 73 combat sorties across 7 aircraft, 0 catastrophic failures." Parker understands. Unofficial approval. Permission without paperwork. "Maintenance requirements increase," Parker says. 15 minutes post-flight, minimum. Oil checks, cable tension verification, bearing, inspection. Reed nods. Crew chiefs can absorb that. He pulls out a blank maintenance form. "I can't order this modification, can't authorize it officially, but I won't stop it from spreading. If gunners want it, if crew chiefs implement it, if it keeps aircraft flying..." He doesn't finish the sentence. He doesn't need to. Parker leaves operations with understanding. The modification exists in grey space. Not approved, not forbidden. Effective enough to tolerate. unofficial enough to deny if it fails catastrophically. By May 20th, 11 aircraft carry the modification. By June 1st, 17. The technique spreads to other bomb groups through crew rotations, through gunners comparing notes at 8th Air Force briefings, through the quiet network of enlisted men solving problems that officers can't officially acknowledge. No technical bulletins, no engineering assessments, just results, measured in aircraft that return. June 1943. The strategic bombing campaign intensifies, targets deeper into Germany, longer missions, higher losses. The modification continues spreading, but the Luftwaffe adapts faster. New tactics emerge. Standoff attacks using 218mm rockets launched from beyond defensive gun range. Tighter formation discipline allowing concentrated fire on single bombers. Attacks from directly below, where belly turret coverage is weakest. Parker flies 23 missions in June. His modified turret performs consistently, but consistency isn't enough against evolving enemy tactics. On June 11th, during a raid on Wilhelmshaven, a new Luftwaffe technique appears. Head-on attacks in rapid succession, multiple fighters stacked vertically, each attacking through the debris field of the previous aircraft. No time to track individual targets. Parker fires continuously, rotates between threats, but the sheer volume of attacks overwhelms single gunner response capability. The modification gives him faster traverse. It doesn't give him more ammunition or additional firing positions. Aircraft 42-5077 takes 14 hits that mission. The nose turret plexiglass shatters. Parker continues firing through open air at -30 degrees, face wrapped in cloth, hands numb inside fleece gloves. They survive, but the margin narrows. Back at Bassingbourn, Parker examines the shattered turret. The modification worked. Traverse system still functional despite direct hit that destroyed the protective enclosure. But the fundamental problem remains: one gunner, two guns, limited traverse arc. No field modification solves geometry. Captain Morris mentions Parker's name in a June 15th report to 8th Air Force headquarters. Brief paragraph: commendation for initiative in improving defensive armament effectiveness under combat conditions. No details about specific modifications, no technical specifications. The commendation reaches Wright Field in Ohio, where engineering teams analyze combat loss data, searching for patterns. They notice improved nose turret, performance across multiple bomb groups. They request technical details. The request is quietly deferred. Field expedient modification, specifics unavailable. Code for unauthorized but effective. The war continues. The modifications spread, and the line between official procedure and survival necessity blurs completely. June 22nd, 1943. The target is Huls, Germany. Synthetic rubber production facilities. Critical target. Maximum effort. 223 B-17s assigned. The 91st Bomb Group contributes 18 aircraft. Parker's turret now shows 127 combat flight hours since modification. Bearing wear is measurable. Additional play in the traverse ring. Slight vibration during rotation. Still functional. Still faster than standard configuration, but degrading. He knows the turret is approaching failure threshold. Estimates 20 additional flight hours before bearing replacement becomes mandatory. 20 hours equals approximately 8 more missions. He doesn't report the wear to maintenance. If they pull the turret for service, they'll reinstall standard components. Standard response time. Unacceptable. The formation reaches the target at 13-12 hours. Flak is intense. Radar-directed 105mm batteries firing in precise patterns. The B-17s hold course through the barrage. Then fighters. Estimated 60 aircraft. Mixed types. Coordinated attacks. Parker engages continuously for 17 minutes. The turret performs. Faster traverse allows him to shift between targets rapidly. 3-second bursts, rotate, acquire next threat, fire again. Ammunition expenditure is high. He's firing more often because he can track more targets. By 13:30 hours, both guns are empty. 500 rounds expended per barrel. He calls it over intercom. Nose guns dry. The bombardier acknowledges. Parker sits in the empty turret, watching fighters continue their attacks, unable to respond, helpless. The waist gunners and ball turret continue firing. The B-17 shudders with hits, 2 in the starboard wing, 1 through the tail section, none critical. The formation completes the bomb run, turns west. The fighters break off at 13:47 hours, low on fuel and ammunition. The flight home takes 4 hours. Parker spends it inspecting the turret mechanism, assessing wear, calculating remaining service life. He thinks about the modification's limitations. It improves response time, but doesn't address ammunition capacity. Doesn't solve the fundamental problem of fighter attacks exceeding defensive gun coverage. It's a partial solution, better than nothing. Not enough to win, just enough to survive slightly longer. Bassingbourn, June 25, 1943. Technical Sergeant Kolb summons Parker to the maintenance hangar at 0600 hours. 8 modified turrets sit disassembled on workbenches, components spread in organized rows. Kolb points to bearing assemblies from each turret, wear patterns visible on every unit, scoring on races, pitting on balls, elongation of retention cages. This is what we're seeing, Kolb says. Across all modified turrets, accelerated wear from lighter oil, increased rotation frequency, stress cycles outside design parameters. Parker examines the bearings. The wear is measurable but not catastrophic. Time to failure. Kolb consults maintenance logs. Based on current degradation rates, 60 to 80 flight hours remaining. After that, catastrophic seizure risk increases exponentially. 80 flight hours equals approximately 30 missions. Parker calculates, if the strategic bombing campaign continues at current intensity, 30 missions covers approximately 8 weeks. What happens after 8 weeks? Kolb answers the unspoken question. Wright Field is developing a new turret system, improved traverse motors, better bearing specifications, redesigned control systems. Production start date, September 1943. Delivery to operational units, October, maybe November. 4 months, the modified turrets will fail before official improvements arrive. Parker understands the timeline. The modification bought time, improved survival rates, but it's temporary, a bridge between current inadequacy and future solution. We can slow the wear, Kolb continues. More frequent inspections, bearing cleaning every 20 flight hours, cable tension adjustments, keep them running until the new systems arrive. Parker nods. How many aircraft are we maintaining now? 23 with modifications, more requesting installation daily. 23 aircraft. Approximately 230 crew members whose survival probability increased by some unmeasurable percentage because of a field modification implemented without authorization, maintained without official recognition. Parker thinks about the colonel's words, unofficial approval, permission without paperwork. The modification exists because it has to, because men are dying and official solutions come slower than operational requirements. The war doesn't wait for engineering approvals. July 1943, the modification reaches its operational peak. 31 aircraft in the 91st Bomb Group carry modified turrets. The technique has spread to the 303rd, 305th, and 379th Bomb Groups through informal channels. Estimated total 70 to 90 modified turrets across 8th Air Force bomber units. No official count exists. No technical bulletin authorizes the modification. It simply is. Mission loss rates show marginal improvement. not dramatic but consistent. In May, before widespread modification adoption, the 91st averaged 4.2% losses per mission. By July, that rate drops to 3.7%, half a percentage point. Across 100 missions, that's 50 fewer crew members killed or missing. The statistics matter less than the men who return. Parker flies his final mission on July 25th, raid on Hamburg, Germany. The turret performs flawlessly despite bearing wear approaching critical threshold. He fires 430 rounds, scores hits on 3 fighters, returns safely. Total: combat missions 32. Total modifications maintained across squadron 31 installations. 0 catastrophic failures in combat. After landing, Parker is rotated stateside, standard policy after completing combat tour. Before departure, he spends 6 hours with Technical Sergeant Kolb documenting the modification process, not an official technical manual, just handwritten notes, cable routing diagrams, oil specifications, bearing inspection procedures, tension adjustment techniques. Kolb files the notes in a manila folder labeled Field Expedient Modifications, Nose Turret Traverse System. The folder is never submitted to higher headquarters. It remains at Bassingbourn, available to maintenance crews, copied informally, passed between crew chiefs. In August 1943, Wright Field completes testing on the improved A-13 turret system. Production authorization issued September 2nd. First deliveries to England arrive October 15th. The new turrets incorporate faster traverse motors, improved bearing specifications, upgraded control systems. Essentially, official versions of what Parker and dozens of other gunners developed through field modification. The A-13 turret becomes standard equipment. The field modifications are quietly retired as new turrets are installed. No recognition, no awards, no documentation in official histories. Just a transition from improvised solution to engineered system. The war ends. Men return home. The B-17s are scrapped or sold as surplus. The stories remain. In 1947, an Air Force historical research team interviews 8th Air Force veterans for operational studies. The team asks about defensive gunnery innovations. Technical Sergeant Raymond Kolb, retired, mentions the nose turret modifications, provides dates, approximate numbers, basic technical details. The interview notes are filed but never incorporated into official histories. Too small, too informal, too difficult to verify against official records that never existed. In 1952, Harold Parker attends a 91st Bomb Group reunion in Cleveland, Ohio. 63 veterans attend. During evening conversations, someone mentions the modified turrets. 7 gunners acknowledge using them. They discuss the modifications casually, without drama, just something they did because it needed doing. Parker learns that similar modifications appeared in other theaters: Pacific B-24s with modified waist gun mounts, European B-26 with field-adjusted turret timing, even some Navy dive bombers with improvised gun sight modifications. Different solutions to the same problem: official equipment lagging behind operational requirements, innovation emerging from necessity. In 1968, Parker receives a letter from a military historian researching 8th Air Force combat operations. Specific question: did he modify his turret system during combat operations in 1943? Parker confirms it, provides basic technical details. The historian includes 2 sentences about field modifications in a 400-page operational history published in 1971. The modification exists as a footnote, 2 sentences in 1 book. Parker dies in 1989. His personal papers include maintenance notes, technical sketches, and a single photograph. Parker standing beside his B-17 at Bassingbourn, 1943, nose turret visible in background. The photograph is donated to the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. It's catalogued, archived, occasionally displayed in exhibits about B-17 operations. Visitors see a gunner and his aircraft. They don't see the modification. They don't know about the Manila folder, the bearing wear calculations, the 70 aircraft that flew with faster turrets because one sergeant decided standard performance wasn't enough. The survival rate shifted, quietly, measurably, without headlines.